So I don't understand what is the benefit and what they hope to achieve by making these statements, other than to stroke Verstappen's ego at every single opportunity. What is going on, everybody? Sherif here from F1Talk, and I'm alone again this week. Unfortunately, Joe is still out. He lost his voice due to the flu, so please leave some comments down below and give him some well wishes. Please let him know that you're pulling for him and look forward to him joining us back next week. Fingers crossed. So, this week in F1 news, we don't have a ton to talk about, but there is some really interesting stuff going on like a low-key level. First, Gunther Steiner has been saying that the Ferrari engine for 2023 is pretty spicy, which is exciting news because Haas is one of those teams, and Gunther is just such a great dude who's been trying to like pull the team and actually do bits with Haas. But he just keeps getting sidelined, I feel, by bad luck. The team keeps getting sidelined with bad luck. And it's exciting to see them slowly pull ahead in the rankings. And if 2023, if this is any indication for 2023, we may see them be even more competitive. So now that Mick Schumacher is out, they're going to have a, potentially, more reliable and more aggressive engine. That's very exciting news because essentially, the Ferrari engine at the beginning of 2022 was a rocket ship, but the problem was that at that level of performance it wasn't reliable, and towards the end of the season, or the second half towards the end of the season, they had to actually turn the wick down on it a bit in order to ensure reliability was there. And I know they kind of tried to turn it up for like Abu Dhabi, but it just wasn't all there. But apparently for 2023, they have ironed out those issues. So we'll see. We'll really see, because as I said in one of our previous videos, I do think that the Red Bull powertrain may be at its limits in terms of that balance of performance and reliability. And if that's the case, that does give room for Ferrari and Mercedes to actually catch up, So, fingers crossed, Haas is going to do some bits in 2023. Now, the next bit of news was, of course, Helmut Marko, Christian Horner. Depends on who's reporting, but they're making these ridiculous claims that no other driver on the grid is even half as good as Verstappen, and the only two who are even remotely close are Leclerc and Hamilton, and they're still only like 50% of him. Which, I don't know, guys, honestly, objectively, I am a Lewis Hamilton fan, I'm not like a crazy like Team LH guy, right? But at the same time, I get really tired when I hear just completely baseless statements like this. The kid just has not had the track record of proven performance. In their statements, they only, from what I read, refer to his ability to manage tire degradation, and just that he's like cool, calm, and collected, and that's it. And he's hungry. But guys, let's be real. Like, this is the pinnacle of motorsports. Like, everybody's hungry, everybody's competitive, and in making these statements, they completely ignore the factor of like the quality of the equipment, right? Like, performance in F1 is a symbiotic relationship between the cars and the drivers. One cannot exist and one cannot perform without the other 100% of the time. So if your car is garbage, then you are not going to be able to perform at your highest level. Now, there is gradation, of course. Like, look at Checo versus Verstappen. Checo in the same car can't seem to extract the same level of performance that Verstappen can. Fine, so be it, right? But we're talking like millimeters, not miles. So I don't understand what is the benefit and what they hope to achieve by making these statements, other than to stroke Verstappen's ego at every single opportunity. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about this, because it's just something that I get exhausted reading about, frankly. And while you're down there, please be respectful. Absolutely. I do appreciate all of you guys leaving comments. I read every single one. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe. The last piece of news that I really wanted to talk on is, again, Christian Horner. And this article came out, or his commentary to the media was that they had a big target on their back politically in 2022, which in part is valid, right? All of the stuff that came out about Abu Dhabi, the FIA's, sort of resistance to really do anything about it. And I mean, think about it. A lot of people are still thinking about Abu Dhabi, and it's almost like a full year after the fact, right? Where it's still on the tip of people's tongues. And so, like, it put Red Bull under a microscope. And then we had the cost cap issue. And Christian Horner wants to say, oh, we had a target on our back. Well, from my perspective, don't do anything that puts a target on your back. Funny enough, it wasn't like McLaren, Alpine, AlphaTauri, HAAS, Alfa Romeo, like anybody else had a target on their back, quote unquote, right? It's only the people who seem to be doing things inappropriately, and that was Red Bull. So him going out into the media and kind of gaslighting everybody and saying, oh, well, we really didn't do anything wrong. We just had this target and people were coming after us. The reason why I refer to it as gaslighting is because it's trying to switch the narrative into them being the victims. And the reality is they did do these things. They did, have... Okay, let me rephrase. They did do the cost cap violations. There's no question about that. It's still up in the air whether or not they had undue sort of influence over Michael Massey, right? So if I'm going to be accurate, I'll clarify that, right? But they had the optics, the perception of having undue influence over Massey. They clearly violated the cost cap, right? Like, there is, regardless of how they want to spin it, a looming cloud over both of Verstappen's championships, and this is a product of their own doing. So Horner coming out into the media saying, oh, we had a target on our back. Actually, he continued even to elaborate that, saying that, oh, they're not a political, company. They just get out and race, and, they don't want to get into these exchanges. But it's funny because he literally has his face in the media more than anybody, making these comments and being political. He's the first one to raise a finger when he thinks there's some sort of rule violations. Every single time. Every single time. Not even confirmed violations, but suspected violations. Christian Horner is going to be that kid raising his hand in the classroom, shaking it vigorously, right? So Christian Horner is definitely, in my opinion, like the king of gaslighting. And he seems to be at it again. And between these comments that they're making about Verstappen being so far and ahead above everybody else, and this now, like, oh, we were the victims of 2022, and really people were coming after us politically, but we just want to race. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And there's no, in my opinion, greater manipulator in the sport than this guy. And I'm quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of it. Like, I do wish that there was some sort of gag order amongst the team principals, right? Like, if you're about racing, go out and race, right? I would have no problem if Red Bull achieved what they achieved this season without the cost cap issue, right? Like, clean slate. If you guys didn't violate any rules and you guys dominated the way you did, props, golf claps, all day, all night. Really, that would be so impressive, so impressive. But now everybody has to wonder if the cost cap spending affected your development abilities of the platform. And you did that in order to gain an unsporting advantage over your competitors. Right? Like, and you look again back to last year, and you have Michael Massey parroting what he hears from Red Bull's like team advisors and Horner back to Toto Wolff, and making clear violations of the rules. There's no way that you can escape this scrutiny. So I don't know, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Christian Horner and Red Bull. I mean, the nickname Karen Horner exists for a reason, and I don't know. I just wish there would be, like I said, some degree of a gag order on the team principals, where it's like, okay, if you don't have anything to say relevant to motorsports, you're not allowed to say anything, period, and it should be limited to the scope of racing, and public like statements with regard to rule violations and things like that, or announcements generally. But to clutter the news cycle with inane statements about driver performance and driver capabilities, and self-victimization and gaslighting is just, it's a waste of all of our times. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to leave some nice comments for Joe down in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that usual YouTube stuff. We are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and the days are dwindling, dude. So please, we would genuinely appreciate it. And hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup. Catch you in the next one. Peace.